Greetings, gamers. Today, for your viewing pleasure, Rising, Sorcer Striker, 1 credit clear, North American ROM. I got the turbo button enabled auto fire because I ain't about pressing that fucking button over and over again, dudes. So, yeah, man, this recently got released on the MiSTer. And it's one of my favorite games, and just had to do a clear on it. Check that out. It says Sorcer Striker, not Sorcerer, but Sorcer. Now, Sorcer was a word back in 1590s, like way back when, like fucking 500 years ago, they used to say Sorcer. No one says that shit anymore. It's like, that's some bad English, my guys. And I mean, it's up there with lightning force. If you can recall, one of the very best shooters on the Sega Genesis is titled Lightning Force. Now, lightning is a word, unlike Sorcer Striker, but it's even worse because lightning means the force of the uterus as it falls down as a woman's giving birth, man. That's uterine force, dude. That's some emasculating shit to name a video game. They got an extra couple of letters in there and fucked it all up, you know. But I like me some bad English, and I love me some Sorcerer Strikers. So yeah, we're getting started here on the clear. And like I said, this got released on the MiSTer. I'm actually playing this on Final Burn Neo with my CRT MU driver set up. There is MiSTer footage at the end I'm going to include the glitches that are on the game. There's some glitches, man. The sound is bad, and I'm going to show you how the sound ain't quite right on the MiSTer setup. It plays too fast, and there's a couple of graphical glitches. But let me tell you guys something. Recording CRT footage, it's not easy. Recording MiSTer's CRT footage is fucking hard. Recording Tate CRT MiSTer footage is fucking impossible. I could not do it, dude. I mean, I could go off like for half an hour, like this whole video telling you about my struggles in recording Tate CRT MiSTer footage. But I'll spare you. But if you want to get down in the comments, man, I'll get down with that. But so, okay, look, I figured out how to do MiSTer footage on CRT, but I just kept getting that rolling bar with this Tate. So I had to record it on my CRT MU driver setup. So that's what we're looking at right here. Yeah, my dudes. I mean, okay, let's talk about the game. Like, you just saw me pick up some coins, right? Like, those coins are what powers up your main shot in this game. And you can power it up like 4 times and it'll get bigger. It'll like right now it's got like 4 bullets coming out at a time. It'll get like 12, I think, when it's fully powered up. I think if you there's some more of them coins just came out. Oh, excuse me, that was a book. Okay, so you get these sub-weapons in this game. Right now I got the green sub-weapon. And you can get a green, a blue, and a red. And they're a forward shot, a spread shot, and a heat-seeking shot. I just picked up the spread shot. And for this dude, the golden bat, the spread shot's what you want. Like, you basically can coast through the entire game with just the spread shot. There's those coins I was talking about. They will power up your main shot. By the second level, you should have your main shot fully powered up. But back to the different types of sub-weapons. You can power your sub-weapon up 3 times. So if I get another spread shot, it'll power it up. And then it'll power it up one more time to level 3. Now you can switch. So like if I switch from like a fully powered up spread shot and I go pick up like a red heat seeking, it'll switch me to the heat seeking and it won't drop me levels. I'll still be fully powered up. But if like you're only level 2 at your spread shot and then you switch over to heat seeking, it's not going to level you up to level 3. It'll just switch you. So that's a thing. And then, yeah, you get bombs in this game. You get, like, if you don't die, you'll get 15 bombs by the end of the game. And that's more than you need. Like, I can get through this game, coast through it on 9 bombs. So that's even more bombs. So if you're in trouble, like, use a bomb. Don't even fret it. And the bombs aren't exactly instantaneous, but pretty damn close. And they're very powerful and they're screen clearing. fucking bombs are your friend. There's a boss towards the end, like the last level is a boss rush. And there's this boss, like he has this one pattern, this ninja dude. And that pattern fucks me up. So you know what I do? I just drop 4 bombs on his head and I don't even worry about him. Because like I said, you get multiple bombs in this game, more bombs than you need. So yeah, you get, there's multiple characters in this game. There's this golden bat, there's a witch, there's a wizard, and there's a dude. I don't know anything about the dude, but the witch and the wizard are also viable characters you can use to beat this game. And the thing about the wizard is he's slow. He has a very powerful forward shot. That's kind of his main weapon. Like the golden bat right here, we're just spread shotting through the whole game. But with the wizard, I found you want to switch between his spread shot and his just forward shot. His forward shot is like super powerful. It'll just destroy bosses. But you have to switch back and forth. Whereas it's a strength of the golden bat here, Miyamoto, that you can just sit on his spread through the whole game and not worry about it. Now the witch, she's about the same speed as Miyamoto, and having more speed is useful. But her main weapon, her best weapon, is a flame heat-seeking weapon, and it's more powerful than the golden bat spread shot. Oh, right here you can see me milking. Like, you can milk points in this game in several spots, and I'm like sitting here milking. You got to be careful because sometimes it'll freeze right here if you're milking. And you can milk for points. If you get enough points, you get extra men. But I've found that you should get about 6 men through the end of the game. You should get 3 extends, 3 extra guys, which comes out to about 6 lives total as you go into the second loop. But you don't need all that. We'll get to that later about the difficulty on this game. But yeah, I was talking about the witch and her her heat-seeking shot. Now, it's powerful, and it spreads around the whole screen. It's huge. But the dealio with it is sometimes it just like goes out to lunch, or just it gives up. Like it'll just turn and point the wrong direction, and you'll just die. Like on a boss here where you need your spread shot to be like defending you. You need your weapon, your sub weapon to be defending you. Her weapon just won't. Like it'll just point the wrong direction sometimes, and you'll die from it. And that inconsistency with it, unreliability, makes me not want to use the witch. But I mean, I like using her. I like using all 3 of them. The thing with the wizard is the last boss in this game, you need speed on him or you die. Like, he's actually not that hard. You time him out. You don't even attack him. You don't hit him once. You just time him out. You let him just do his thing, and he's going to wander around the screen and then just wander off, and you beat the game basically. But you need speed, and you don't have it with the wizard because he's slow. So yeah, that's strats on the game, like the different characters. You got your bombs, you get your extends. The second loop on this game is harder. I have beat this game on 1 credit and beat both the first loop and the second loop. It's called a 2-all. And that's the thing, okay guys, that's the thing that makes this game special. There's 2 things. One is its difficulty, and the other is the fact that it's a big boy game. This is a rising game. So for me, like, the best games ever made were made in the 90s. Like boomers, like my dad and his generation, they're all about like classic cars. They'll talk about their 1959 Chevys and shit. Well, I'm telling you guys, when we get older, when we're talking about video games, it's going to be like 1990s arcade games are going to be like the classics. 1990s console games too. That was like the golden age. That was it. And the top dogs, like as far as like visual appearance and like the best talent making games and the best art design and music, is like these shooter games, guys. These vertically scrolling shooter games from the 90s, these Tate games, are like the best games. They're also the hardest, guys. Like, they're harder than Battletoads. They're harder than Ghosts and Goblins. Like, they're fucking hard. These vertically scrolling shooters are hard. That's what makes them big boy games. And amongst the big boys, I think the big two are Cave and Rising. Like Cave made Battle Garega. Excuse me, Cave made Dodonpachi, DOJ, and Rising made Battle Garega. Those are like the big ones. Okay, so this is a Rising game. It's one of the big boys. There's also Psycho and Taito made some really good games. But anyways, yeah, this is up there on the big studios that made the hard, badass 90s games. So if you can beat this, like, you know, you're playing one of the big boy games. And the thing about this game is it's out of all of the big shooter difficult games, this is the easiest. This English ROM, the North American USA ROM, is easier than the Japanese one. So the second loop on the second loop on the North American ROM is like the first loop on the Japanese ROM. Oh, check it out here. There's these turtles that come out. That's another spot where you can farm points. You'll see this like turtle come swim out and he'll squirt out some eggs. You want to leave them on the screen so that... Here, I'm going to drink some coffee. Hold on a sec. Yeah, you want to leave that turtle on the screen until he squirts his eggs out. He'll actually squirt out 2 sets of eggs and you can get some big points from them eggs. Where is he? These dragons or whatever, man, they just need to get off the screen and give me that turtle. Okay, a way to get those coins is you want to shoot them all at once. So all 4 coins come out at once. And then you kind of dive. Okay, there's the turtle. I'm going to wait for him to squirt it out. Yeah, give me the eggs. Okay, but yeah, the coins, you kind of like get them all to shoot out at once, and then you dive back into them. Like you start in the middle of the screen and then like fall back into them, and you can usually pick up 2. Okay, here's a spot like this boss right here. If you're playing as the witch, when he's like shooting all that shit out at you, like her fucking heat seeker just might like take the day off and screw you. Like right here. Like if it decides to like spin out sideways in some random direction, it's your ass, man. It's fucking run over. You got to restart. And I ain't down for that. But yeah, where were we, man? Oh yeah, I was talking about me and my... So dudes, it's like Friday. I just put in a full week of scanning scrotes and fucking patient care. And like I did some like drove home, which is an hour drive. And then I fucking did some labor in my backyard. And it's like late at night and I'm recording this shit tired as fuck. So I'm drinking coffee. And we're drinking beers. And I'm drinking Heineken tonight. Like normally I'm like a dark beer guy, but it's hot, dude. It's the summer and I'm drinking something a little lighter. So yeah, that's my trip tonight. You know. Yeah, what else do we want to talk about? You don't want to hear about my beers. You want to hear about them video games. So yeah, this game, man, Rising. Okay, so this game, this is Sorcer Striker. You know, and there's 3 games in this series. They got these same characters, the same theme. It's like a trilogy. There's Sorcer Striker, and then after that is Kingdom Grand Prix, which is a trippy game. That game is like a race. It looks like this. Like it looks the same. Like, and the graphics are a little better because it's, you know, it's a newer game. But it's a racing game mixed with a shooter. So like in that game, if you go towards the top of the screen, like you speed up the scrolling. And the other characters in the game are on the screen with you and they like bump into you and fuck you up. It's a trip, dude. And like, honestly, I ain't really down for it. But it's cool that they, you know, that's the thing. I loved back then. Like shit was more experimental. People had balls back then. Like they take risks and try different weird shit. And that game did. And it's still a good game. But the way you play that game, Kingdom Grand Prix, is you kind of break the racing game and you play around it. You don't like play within it. Like you just try to like play around the racing element and negate it. So there's that. And then the third entry in this series is, what is it called? Diamo or something like that. But there's 3 of them. And the third one doesn't have the racing. It's like more like this style. It's got like some weird collecting going on. Like you can collect items and weapons in it, like kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, where there's like treasure and like Excalibur and like artifacts and shit you get in it. It's got that kind of weird thing going for it. So they got creative on that one too. And the fucking graphics on that game, the third entry in this series, is just some of the best ever made, like, period. And that's the thing, like, that drew me to this game is it looks gorgeous. Like, and if you look, there's a bunch of little like details. Like right now, look, we're like coming over this city. Like we're attacking this city and now we're in space and you see space coming out. And like every level in this game, you just want to like stop and like take it in, which is something I like to do when I get one of these games is I'll just bomb and credit feed through it and just check out the art design. And like when I was doing that with this game, I was just blown away by all the detail. Like there'd be like people in the background like walking around that would yell at me, and then you can like shoot them or you can leave them alone. So just everything in this game, like the detail, like this rocket pops up and it kind of blows you back. Yeah, dude, like I love the art design. The sprite art in this is amazing. Yeah, this game right here. I believe this game was made like, I remember reading about it and it was made like super fast. Like I don't want to get it wrong, like how many weeks it took, but it was made super fast. Like they just like sat in a room with some computers and ordered takeout. Like look at that shit, guys. Like all that shit just happened in this fucking armor this guy has on. It's gorgeous. But yeah, this game was made quick. The sound is good on it. And that's the thing. Like I was telling you, this is a big boy game. There's Cave and there's Rising. And for me, Rising has better music. The music in this game I appreciate. I really don't like Cave music that much. But Rising has good music. The visuals are kind of just more my style. Yeah, what else to say about that? So yeah, there's those 3 games in this series. And the guys that made Rising, they came from Compile. And Compile made Musha and Spriggan. Spriggan's a game on the TurboGrafx. No, excuse me. It's not on the TurboGrafx 16. It's on the PC Engine CD. And it's it looks like this game. I wonder if maybe I'll throw some footage in at the end, but like I don't think there were any sprite assets like straight up ripped off of that game, off of Spriggan. But like there's things that are just obviously inspired. I'm saying that Sorcer Striker inspired Spriggan, but I think it's the other way around. I think Spriggan was first and then Sorcer Striker was next. But like that's a really good game too, Spriggan. If you go play it on the console, I recommend putting it on hard right away because it's too easy on normal mode. But yeah, that game is obviously kind of in the same universe with this game. If somebody told me, if they had retitled Spriggan Sorcer Striker, like I wouldn't have batted a lash. I'd just been like, yeah, of course that's Sorcer Striker. Yeah. So this game, man, this game right here. So you're like mercenaries hired in this fantasy steampunk world. Like it's a fantasy world, but there's like steel dragons. Like the witch at one point, she's like, hey, I didn't know city dragons were made of metal. So there's like this kind of Musha metallic fantasy thing going on in this game. It's just a fucking cool art design. There's a lot of cute, like fun little details in this game. Like the witch, when she gets into her ship, like she eats shit before she gets into it. And at the end of the game, when you beat it with the witch, she buys some ridiculous like spaceship for her dad. She's like, oh, Dad, I made a bunch of money. She's like this totally frivolous chick that just like wastes all of her like bounty money on buying like a car for her dad. Yeah. So there's like cute stuff. There's a bunch of funny like English and memes in it. Like one of my favorites is when you beat the first level with the golden dragon here, he just his response at the end of the level is no response. And my son's like, that's some edgy 90s shit. And I was like, yeah, it is. Yeah, there's some like meme-worthy shit that the golden dragon says here. Like, I guess he's out to get Kage, whoever the fuck Kage is. I think it's the ninja that you fight in this level coming up. And that ninja, dude, when you beat him, he fucking, what do they call it? Harry carries himself. Like, he pulls out, like, his little sword. Like, he's a ninja. Like, he's got the two swords. He pulls out his little sword and, like, fucking slices his entrails out and then, like, kills himself, dude. Like, falls on his own blade. Like, there's shit like that. Like I was saying, there's details in this game, man. Like, if you're looking, you're gonna appreciate some shit. So an interesting thing in this game is, like, the magic is bad. Like, the magic is evil. It's Sorcerer Striker. I feel like I should call it Sorcerer Striker. Like, check it out. Like, I was talking earlier about Lightning Force. No one calls Lightning Force Lightning Force. Normally we would call it Thunder Force 4, right? Like, we just corrected the fact that they had bad English. But, or we might, you know what, if we're going to call it anything, we'll call it Lightning Force. Should we call this game Sorcerer Striker? Like, they obviously meant to call it Sorcerer Striker, but we just keep calling it Sorcerer Striker. I feel like people are uncomfortable. Like, you'll see, like, reviews on this, like Electric Underground and Shmup Junkie will talk about this game. And I feel like they don't know what to call it either, because, like, you just get uncomfortable when you call it Sorcerer Striker. Oh, by the way, these castles fuck me up sometimes. They're a good candidate to just drop bombs on them. Like, you got extra bombs. Look, I got fucking over 9 bombs right here. Oh, by the way, it says 9, but I have more than 9. Like, if you collect over 9 bombs, it's only going to say 9, but it's still going to credit you the bombs after 9. If that makes sense. I feel like I didn't explain that all that good. What the hell is I talking about? Sorcerer Strike. Oh yeah, it's called Sorcerer Striker. And you're fighting sorcerers. Like, the enemy in this game, the Goblet Gang or whatever they are, they're like magicians. And you're like normal, just like, I want to say that you're like the more mechanized science people, but that ain't quite right, because you have a sorcerer mercenary on your team. But yeah, you're fighting sorcerers in this game. Like, the enemy, like, you'll see a bunch of wizards flying around and shit. This boss here can give me trouble. Like, he has these gun pods on his shoulder blades, and if they start out shooting me, it'll give me a hard time. And, like, as soon as those gun pods just started shooting, as soon as they start shooting, I just start dropping fucking bombs, guys. It's bomb time. And this is a boss that I'll just waste bombs on till all those shoulder pods are gone. Because it's just not worth losing a run to this motherfucker here. Pretty cool looking boss, right, guys? Like, all the shit he's got going on him. And that's the thing with this game. Like that boss was pretty ridiculous with all the stuff they had on him. Like, his shoulder pads and his extra armor. And he's got a wizard and a sword sticking out of his back. But for some reason, it just works in this game. It doesn't look ridiculous. Here he goes, Golden Dragon, or Golden Dude's talking about Kage again. Okay, so this is the boss rush. And I love this level. And this is the one spot in the game where I'll switch over to the flame, the heat seeking. For this one guy you fight right here, this dragon, who's hella cool looking. Like, you can just sit in the middle right here. And those heat seekers are going to kill him. They're going to beat those gun pods. In this game, guys, it's not that hard. Like, if you can beat Lightning Force, Thunder Force 4 on the Sega, this is, I think, easier. Like, I don't know if easier is the word. Okay, so this game is a lot shorter. It's a shorter playthrough than Thunder Force 4. The difficulty might be a little bit higher, but, you know, it doesn't take as long. So, okay, here I'm switching back over. Look how the people in the fans are, like, throwing you. They're throwing you, like, items and shit to get. Like, you're, like, in the Thunderdome or something. Like, that's another thing I like about this game. Like, this level's cool. Like, you just sailed into, like, the enemy's headquarters. And, like, people are cheering you on. Like, you're in some, like, Roman Colosseum. Cool art design. Yeah, what was I talking about? Difficulty? Yeah. I feel okay, so that's another cool thing about this game, guys. Like this is like a good one to get good at shooters at, because like I said, it's easy, but it can be harder. So if you want it to be harder, what you do is you just play the second loop on it. And the second loop, the bullets are faster, and the enemy, like the bolt, like the okay, this is a guy I just fucking bomb him. Like he's gonna like shoot at these ninja stars, and this pattern right here just messes me up. So I just bomb on it. But yeah, so the second loop on this game, bullets are faster, the enemy bullet patterns are more complex, the boss patterns are more complex. The second loop's a lot more fun, honestly. There he goes, stabbing himself. That was badass. And then he explodes, like in true 90s fashion. Everything has to explode. But yeah, okay, so you can play the second loop. And then once you're done with that, like you could go and you're like, okay, I got that part beat. You can play the Japanese ROM, and that's even harder. And then try to clear the second loop on the Japanese ROM. And if you can beat the second loop on the Japanese ROM, you're playing a pretty fucking hard game, guys. Like you're playing something levels above Battletoads at that point. So yeah, like so this game has like difficulty settings, you know. And that's just on normal difficulty. That's not even getting into the dips. Like I've never messed with the dip switches. Like you could like take away your extra lives or make it so you get less extra lives. This game gives you a lot of resources. You know, like I was saying, look, I got 6 lives right now. I haven't died in this game. I almost do a no death run in this game. But I fucking die like a stupid death at the very end after like I already beat the last boss. And there's like this bullshit like final last boss. I don't know. I don't want to call him a true last boss because he's really a joke. Okay, so this is really the last boss right here. And I don't hit him at all. Like I don't use any bombs on this guy. Because if you do, he goes into a second form that is just more difficult to handle. You can beat the second form, right? Like it's actually pretty cool. Like this fucking boss, dude. Like look at this shit. Like that is gorgeous sprite art. Like to me, like even my son, like the Zoomer was impressed by this shit. Something about that, like all the moving parts in this, and the colors are like vibrant, like true emerald greens. It's just fucking gorgeous. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so you time this guy out. Like notice I'm not attacking him because I don't want him to go into his second form, which is really cool looking. But I tried to get this clear real quick. Like I said, the MiSTer core just came out. So I wanted to include that. Like I'll put some MiSTer footage at the end here and probably have some words explaining, like I'll just have some text on the bottom explaining what's wrong with the MiSTer footage. But basically there's a sprite glitch on the second boss where his skull is like, his head is missing. And you can't tell when you're doing damage to the second boss. So that's one major sprite glitch. And then there's like a bar on the left, a vertical bar on the left-hand side of the screen. If enemies come into that bar, like there's a weird little sprite glitch, like a, it looks like they're the Predator, like when he's in invisible mode. Like there's this weird like shimmering going on them through the whole game. And then there's the sound. The sound is sped up through the whole game, and it's really annoying. And that's the problem with the MiSTer update. And I don't want to poo on it, dude. Like, I would rather play the MiSTer core than the original arcade PCB, just because there's a pause button on the MiSTer, which is huge to me. And you can put it like turbo auto fire on. Like, I guess it's cheating with auto fire. On this one, it doesn't really break the game because you can easily auto fire just as fast. Excuse me, you can fire by pressing your arcade stick. Like you can fire just as fast quite easily as you can by holding it down. It's exhausting learning these games and practicing them by like constantly pressing your hand down. Like honestly, like if you were to do it a lot, you probably could give yourself carpal tunnel. Like, it'd be interesting to hear from Japanese players that are hardcore shooters, like, because I know those guys don't fuck around. Like, they only play on the arcade PCBs. Like, do they get carpal tunnel from like legitimately pressing the button over and over again? But yeah, dude, what else to say about this shit? Yeah, we're timing the boss out here. And I'm on a no death run, and I'm feeling myself right now. I'm like, yeah, no death run. And yeah, I didn't want to play the Japanese ROM. I didn't want to do a 2-all because it would take too long. And I wanted to get this footage out to you guys just to kind of be part of the whole scene going on right now with the MiSTer. And I love the MiSTer scene. Like, see, this guy just died. I didn't even have to beat him. He timed out. Like, the MiSTer scene, I post my videos on there, and they're always like way cool. Like, even if I critique them, like, the MiSTer dudes don't ever like get butthurt. Like, if I point out flaws in their shit. Yeah, I shouldn't get into that too much. There are other scenes I've been annoyed with, but I really am digging the MiSTer scene. Yeah, so this, like, you think the game's over, and there's like one more thing you have to do here. And look, everybody's waving to you. It's all happy, happy, joy, joy. And then watch this dude just get fucking tossed. Like, I love that. And he walks away. And I die right there, dude. I should not have died. I could have just, if I'd have dropped that bomb just a second earlier, I'd have had a no death run on this. I fucked it up. It's all good. Like, nobody cares that I got a 1 credit clear or no death run on Sorcer Striker. Like this game's like a scrub clear. Like, in the shooting community, like, you get no props for beating this game with auto fire, like scrubby 1-all, dude. Like, in that community, those guys are hardcore guys. Like, they're about getting 2-alls on games like Dodonpachi. Getting a 2-all on Dodonpachi, beating both loops, that's like a serious lifetime commitment. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, you need to commit like a year of your life to try to do that. Like, the level of commitment to beat those games, and the guys still playing those games, like, it's really attractive to me because I'm really into playing games and I'm not into collecting. And that's the scene, like the shooting game community. They're about beating games, guys, like hard ass games. But yeah, dude, that's it. Like, I just fucking beat the game. Go out there and beat you some hard games.